Guys, welcome to the 11th episode of the Journey for Greatness podcast. So just like we've been doing the past 2 other weeks, documentation, it's not changing this week. We're basically going to document 2 similar scenarios me and Tommy Boy kind of went through this past weekend. And I think that it's only fitting the title of this talk. We're going to say give, take less. And we really think people just take more than they give. And Tom, I'm going to let you take the floor because I think your experience really kind of, got this topic going for our talk. So it's all yours, buddy.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Diddy. So the topic of today's podcast, I think, is something that a lot of people when they give, whether it be financially, their time, whatever the case is, like you get a feeling, and I think we can all, if we've done that or we've given our time to a cause or maybe we've donated to a cause, we all have that certain feeling where, man, like, damn, that felt good. You know what I mean? That just genuinely made me happy, or that made me feel good. And I had an experience. It was it was Friday night. I was invited to go to this baseball game down in Charlotte, and it's a AAA baseball game, so we ended up having really good seats. We were right behind the dugout and right behind home plate. And as the game went on, I kind of noticed, and I know I kind of blew up my social media with the picture of myself and the little cute girl that I was with. Not with, but she was just part of the game right nearby in our section. And I noticed her pretty much the entire game, like she was just like having an absolute ball, like jumping around, dancing to the music, yelling at the players, like just literally having like the time of her life. And first of all, just watching her was like giving me, I was just like, wow, she is so happy. She's such a, we can learn a lot from kids, right? Like in terms of like their just lack of care for anything going on around them. Like they don't give a shit who's
100%.
Yeah, they don't.
That 100%.
They don't give a shit. Like she just didn't care who's watching. She didn't care what people thought. Yeah, it's just like it was so cool just to watch her. And anyway, so we were hanging out, and there's a bunch of foul balls that were going over the netting, and I was like, man, we are definitely getting a ball. Like I don't care if I got to stretch out and like jump out and grab it
or something.
Yeah, exactly. Pull my back
throw
or
some bows. I'm getting myself a baseball here.
I had to get my baseball. No, so we had a couple come over the net, and I was like, man, we're close enough to the net where like it had to be just a perfect foul ball for it to go up and come down to where we were, sitting. Everything was either coming back into the net or just going way over top. So anyways, I looked down and like we were right by the tunnel, so like the ball boy was hanging out, and I was like, I kind of like yelled, I was like, hey man, can we get a ball over here? And he kind of laughed, and he's like, I can't give, he kind of smirked, he's like, I can't give out balls, and so I was like, come on, I was kind of giving him a hard time or whatever. So anyways, as the game went on, this was like the 7th or 8th, it was after the 7th inning stretch, there was a small opening like where the railing was in between where the dugout was and where the railing started, so he kind of was like laughing, and he had a couple balls in his hand, and he like kind of sneaked one between the dugout and the railing, and it kind of dropped into the seating, and it rolled underneath the seat, and I was like, damn, there's a ball right there. And I like hung out a little bit. I was like, sure enough, somebody's going to find that ball, somebody must have seen him do that. And nobody saw him. I was like, what the hell? So he had another ball, and he kind of like, waved his head. He's like, come over and get one. So like I had to kind of get up, go around the railing, and go down and grab the ball that he had in his hand. But he's like, there's another one under the seat, and I noticed that one. So like I grabbed that one. So I ended up having, I had 2 balls, and I was like, well, fuck, I'm definitely giving one to this little girl that's been like loving the game the whole time. So I give one to her. What's that?
Just to kind of chime in for a second.
Yeah.
You could have easily just kept both of them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure, 100%. Yep.
You could have just said, all right, boom, I got 2 balls. Nice.
I know. One for me, one for the person that I went with. Because I told the other person I was with, I was like, I'm getting you a ball. Like, she gave me a free ticket. It was like $30 tickets. I was like, I'm 100% getting you a ball. And so it turned out that I ended up getting 2 of them. So I gave one to her, and then I also gave one to the little girl. So it was like the ideal scenario. Not only was the person I was with, like, over ecstatic, oh my God, you got me a ball. And then the other, little girl was so happy. She's like the look on her face, like I wish, obviously the look on her face in the picture was hilarious, but like she was just so happy. I was like, and that to me just kind of solidified the point of, and it doesn't have to be money all the time. You know what I mean? Like we were talking earlier, like, yeah, it feels amazing to give money because I know for me, you know, there were times in my life where I've given, you know, to charities, to causes, and I've just felt really good about like releasing that money, like, and knowing that it's going to do something good for somebody. But even something like that, giving, you know, having a baseball and knowing that it would be cool to keep it, but just giving it to a kid like that like probably made her not only night, but it probably like made her, who knows, made her week, you know what I mean? She could be talking about that for, you know, days and months or whatever, like, oh my God, I got a baseball, you know?
Who knows, you know, maybe she went home and she was so excited and she put that in like a little, you know, she kind of put a glass container around or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe she got it signed by all the players after, so like, you know, you just thinking of her, man, just a little small, as you kind of said, you know, little small deeds that, again, you know, and then we actually kind of touched on the last podcast, just, you know, kind of making people feel like this isn't the same thing, but just thinking of doing little small things like, as we said last podcast, making people feel like they matter and stuff, you know. Maybe doing a little deed like this, just giving this girl a little baseball, and then she gets it signed or something, or she goes home with it and she's just so happy, like it makes her week, it makes her month, you know. I mean, it's just those little things that you don't think to do that actually make a big difference.
100%. And for me, it was like it probably made me just as happy to give that ball to her than it made her happy to get the ball. You know what I mean? Like some of that stuff, it's kind of it means more to the person giving than it does the person getting that thing. And for me, it was 100%. Like I can't even really explain. I know I'm kind of like hammering it home and like belaboring the point here, but like seriously, like I can't really describe it, dude. It was really cool. And so I know that was part of my week. That was kind of the icing on a great week. I triggered my full-time contract for you know, my endeavor with New York Life. I was able to get one of my family members in on some business, and then and this kind of goes back to another situation. It's all about relationships, all about, you know, people that you're around and whatever. Like the guy we've documented, we've talked about, Corey, who I told you about, kind of called me out on my bullshit and got me into the door at New York Life and all this stuff. He pulled some strings and had a guy on our team that was pulling in. So basically, I had to hit like a certain number. I had to hit like $1,500 in commissions, but part of that had to be life insurance. So I had to sell life insurance to get that part of the, you know, contract to hit $1,500. Well, I wasn't gonna hit. I think it was $500. I was gonna hit plenty of money on another business deal that I made, but that wasn't life insurance. So what my boss did was, and this probably shouldn't be, you know, public knowledge, but I'm assuming that like nobody from New York Life is gonna fucking listen to this. So if I get fired, we're just gonna have to go all in on the podcast, did he? But
let's go. I like it.
No, so anyway, so he pulled some, you know, rabbits out of his hat, and he basically exchanged some things and made it happen to get me triggered at the end of the month. So like I'm walking into July as a full-time, like I'm not pre-contracted anymore. I'm basically like a full-time, you know, agent. So I mean, it was just an ending to a freaking awesome week, and you know, just happy all around. It was the first time in probably a long time that I really, really felt like I was like, kind of had that breath of fresh air. Like, man, like that felt great. Had a good week, and I think it's important for everybody to obviously celebrate your victories. You know, because we all go through a lot of failures, and you know, we get our backs against the wall, but recognizing like those successes are even more important to celebrate. To take a minute to just be like, wow, like that felt good. Like not only giving that ball to that girl, but some of the other stuff that happened to me during the week, and just celebrating that. And I was wanting to make that an important note in the podcast, that don't be afraid to like be happy when something good happens like that, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I actually kind of want to, I guess you could say, just bring up 2 points from your two different, you know, endeavors. So, you know, one, I think, and I'm not saying you were trying to say this, but, you know, just listening to you talk and trying to think about stuff I've done, you know, in the past, maybe, you know, something kind of like what you went through with the little girl in the baseball. It's like, dude, like, when somebody smiles at you and you do something for them, like, you know, you don't fake a smile to someone, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially at that age, they don't know how to fake a smile, you know? It's no like, oh, I did something for you, all right, you know, it doesn't really matter to me, but I'm going to fake a smile. So, basically, you know, the picture I saw, it looked like she was really happy. So I'm assuming, in the heat of the moment when you gave her the baseball, she must have been absolutely smiles from ear to ear and then some. So that probably, just gave you a feeling of like, wow, like I really made this girl happy. Like, I really made her day and then some. Like, so I think that's one of maybe something that you were trying to, maybe touch upon, is that just seeing her reaction was probably like, wow, like really, just me giving her a baseball, something so little just made her day.
Absolutely, dude. That was 100%. And that's what like made me just kind of, because I haven't been giving, not only monetarily, but I feel like even if you don't have the money to give to certain things, like that's just another excuse. Like I feel like people, I don't have the money, I don't have this, but I think we all have the ability. We all have time. First off, which we've talked about ad nauseum, like within this, 10 episodes that we've done. I think we've talked numerous times about time is arguably more, valuable than money. So everybody has time. I don't care. Yeah, okay, you could be sick, you could be on a deathbed, yeah, you could be, immobilized, but everybody has time. And I think one thing that I'm gonna, say is like I've gotten away from giving, money, but I've also, like back when we were in college, like we would go and read to kids, we'd go and do certain things and utilize our time. And I think that for me was just it was kind of a wake-up call to be like, dude, you have no excuse. Like, seek out some opportunities, like get yourself back involved with giving yourself, giving your time to other things, and that can be anything, So I think for me, that small thing that happened Friday night was a big reminder to me that I need to get back into, giving my time to certain things, and I don't know what those things are, but it's kind of definitely led me to be like, okay, need to get back into that stuff and just start seeking out opportunities to give my time, and that's, I think, even more important than giving money. But if you can give money and you're so tied up and busy, then obviously giving money is amazing too, and it gives you probably the same feeling, because I've done that too, and it's also been a great experience. So I don't know, just a little bit of a wake up call for me, and I'm excited to seek out some opportunities to kind of get back involved. And it's funny though, because now like I don't want to say I'm a nobody, but like when we were at Clarkson, we did like reading with kids. It's like, okay, who's going to want a financial professional to go in and read to kids, you know what I mean? So maybe you just find different things at your current moment in life. It could be like I used to volunteer at a soup kitchen. There could be different opportunities in your community that you could get involved in, and I'm definitely going to, just based off of what happened Friday night, like get back involved with some different community activities to give my time. So
I feel like, to kind of touch upon what you said at the beginning about, getting older and stuff like that, and, we kind of get away from that. I feel as though, let me ask you this question. I don't know, it just popped in my head when you were talking about it, just, a second or two ago. How do you think an 18-year-old would have reacted if you gave him a baseball? So, an 18-year-old girl who's at the ballpark in reference to this little girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, you think that maybe you would have had the same feeling?
I don't know if I would have. I don't know, because I think it was I think what predicated me wanting to give it to her was the fact that she was just genuinely enjoying the baseball game, and I was like, you know what, like if I get a ball, like I'm gonna 100% give it to her. So it was like, I think it was more just judging based off of her like genuineness to be enjoying herself at the game, and like just knowing that if a ball came to her, I think she would have like went over the moon with excitement, which she 100% did, So I think an 18-year-old may have been, I don't know, maybe like more, maybe kind of stuck in that, I'm not going to dance around and jump around and, have fun at this baseball game because I'm like talking to, my boyfriend on the phone, or I'm like not really enjoying it because it's just something for me to do, or, so I think if I like saw some crazy, like if she was right next to me and this crazy 18-year-old was like jumping around, dancing, having fun, like yelling at the players, like, hey, give me a baseball, this and that, like I probably would, but maybe wouldn't give me that kind of genuine sense of happiness. I don't know, it's definitely a hard thing to think about.
No, yeah, I was just thinking about that. I mean, I don't think you'd get the same response.
I don't think so. Yeah, I definitely don't think so. And that's like even when we used to read, like with the kids, like just to see like the little kids, like when you're reading a story and you're kind of like not joking around, but like you come to a part and you're like, you kind of get all like excited, and the kids are tuned into you, and you're like, these kids are awesome. Like I don't know, there's something about you can learn. I feel like you just learn a ton from kids, and I don't know what it is. It must be like the lack of give a shit that they have. I don't know if that like.
And you want to know something? I feel like a lot of people out there, I'd say legitimately in this world, like 95% of the people out there would very, very would get a lot of value out of that I don't give a shit meter.
Yep.
Because I feel like that's a huge factor in people like not doing what they, their dream is and all that stuff. And it's just they give a shit too much about what others think about them. And it's so funny, like when you talk about that, because it's so true. Little kids could give a crap what you think about them. Perfect example, all right? Just thinking about this right now really fast.
Yeah.
Okay, don't mean to kind of stretch this along, but...
No. I think it's good. I actually do. I think it's really good.
Yesterday, move into, my new apartment. Yeah, so for everybody, I didn't let everybody know I'm spread my wings now.
Getting out of the nest, baby.
New chapter in the life. So, we'll... it's going to take on a lot of more responsibility, so it's going to be very interesting to see, and maybe we'll document it.
Just keep documenting it.
I'll let you guys know.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll let you guys know my struggles and everything, and I'll let you guys know what I like about it. So there you go. Every time I'm on the podcast, I'll throw something out there, that I never really thought would happen, or that I like about it that I never really thought. So definitely we'll throw something out there. But so I'm moving into my new apartment with my cousin and my brother, and we pull up, and there's this, I don't know, I want to say he's like maybe 11-year-old. Never seen the kid in my life. Get out of my car. And this is exactly what you're talking about. He goes, "Who are you? What are you doing here? Why are you at my house?" Right away. Had never seen the kid in my life. All of a sudden starts shooting a squirt gun at my car. I'm like, oh my God. Like, hey, how's it going, man? Like, nice to meet you in the first 5-10 seconds.
Oh my God.
There's that I don't give a shit meter. It's just like now I'm not saying, hey, we could all really get a lot of value out of, just being like that right off the bat. Just be like, hey, who are you? Throw them and you throw them water balloons in my car too in the first 15-20 seconds I meet the kid.
God.
There's just another example of a young kid and that I don't give a shit meter. So I think that definitely holds true with the younger kids, and I think a lot of people could, in a certain way, get a lot of value out of that because they really do give a shit what people think about them, and in a sense they really shouldn't, because they shouldn't waste their time and energy on people that don't believe in what they do and don't support them. I mean, I guess that's a talk for another day.
Yeah, it is.
I just want to kind of share that, like this kid who I had never met in my life, who I had never even talked to, hadn't even said a word to the kid. And all of a sudden I got out of my car and he goes, "Who are you? What are you doing here? Like, you guys can have parties at night. I have to go to bed." I'm like, wow, okay, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And then 2 seconds later, he's asking me to, right after I move my first thing of furniture in, I come back down and he's asking me, "Hey, you want to play basketball with me? Like, you can be LeBron, I'll be Steph Curry." So it's just like, dude, you're 100% right. Just the I don't give a crap meter. And as I said, I'll say it again. I know I've said it a few times. People that would give a lot of value to people, I feel like you would almost see a lot of more successful people. Because a lot of people just, don't do what they want to really do because they're afraid of parents, friends, cousins, what they'll think of them. I mean, I've told a few people doing this, and I've gotten some laughs, like, yeah, okay, we'll see how long that lasts and stuff. And I actually had a cousin, my brother had a graduation party last weekend. And I was like, "Oh, do you got a podcast? Wow, huh, yeah, we'll see how long that lasts, kid. You'll probably, you won't be doing that for much." So it's just kind of like people, they talk down to you.
They do.
A lot of people, kind of read into that and all of a sudden get thinking, that negative seed. That negative seed we talked about, We'll go back to, I forget which episode it was, but, we talked about that negative seed. So I 100% agree with you. I think that's a very valid and good point.
We should all. I was gonna interrupt you there. That this whole what I was doing with this financial, advisor, not advisor, but financial professional. That I think I've had to like friggin' really dig the negative seed out, because I think a lot of times, you're life insurance salesman. They're scum buckets, or you're just trying to sell me something, and like rather than me really looking at it as a long-term, lifelong journey of, helping people. Not only Diddy, you're making a couple $100,000 a year. You got a house. You got kids. Like, what happens if you die? You know what I mean? So like helping people protect what's important to them, and like really trying to dig back on. And this is completely going in another direction, but I'm just going to go with it here, because I'm tied to that commitment that I made to that guy, Corey. Give him 30 days. What happened? 21 days. He reciprocated his commitment to me, and he told me, I'm going to get you triggered, which means, you're going to get you're going to be a full-time agent. Give me 30 days. He did it in 21 days. And so it's like that he kept his word. That to me, it's about the people more than it is about, I want to enjoy this stuff. I want to enjoy the financial stuff, and there are 100%. There are parts of it that I really do enjoy. Now, do I love cold calling? Do I love doing some of that stuff? Not really, but I realize that if I want to build something exciting, if I want to build an actual financial, whatever you want to call it, practice, where I help people manage their finances and their lives, and help them protect what they love, and like that to me is kind of turning into what we talked about way early, and that's like the why. And I was going to tell a quick story that back when I was doing the landscaping company, I was working for this is actually the last time I hung out and saw Roofy, which he was actually in town in Rochester. This was in 2012. So he passed away. He passed away in like August. I don't remember exactly what day month he passed away, but it was like basically 3 months before Roofy had passed away. I was working on a job and doing landscaping and everything, and I was running this machine. I had a guy working with me, and this dog kept coming back and forth, and he wasn't really giving us a hard time, but he was like, whatever. He was coming over, we were petting him, and he would go back to because it was the neighbor's dog. Well, finally the neighbor came over and grabbed the dog and was like heading back, and it was a real wooded area, so it was like he was walking the dog back between the houses, and dude, something happened, because I looked at the guy that was like helping me, and he looked over at me, and he kind of like waved me over, and I knew, like, you ever get that like kind of gut feeling that something like wasn't right? Well, I had that feeling, and I like ran over, and the guy was legitimately laying on the ground, like not moving. For one, he was still alive, but he was not moving, and he was literally like gasping and barely, I would say barely alive. Like, I'm just trying to think back of that day. And the weird part about it, 2 months earlier, I had just taken a class on first aid, like CPR and all that stuff, and I was like, oh my god, like this guy literally just tripped, fell, something really bad happened. I don't know what it is, but he's barely alive. And so I yelled at my buddy, called 911. I have to fucking start doing like chest like compressions on this guy. Well, he ends up make a long story short, the ambulance came. It seemed like it was 30 minutes, you know what I mean? But we were out in the woods, kind of like in a secluded part of town, and so it took a while for them to finally get there. And I'm sitting here doing like compressions on this guy, and he's still like, he's alive, but he's like fucking basically on his way to being dead, you know what I mean? And I'm like, holy fuck, like what's happening right now? And turns out he ends up passing away. So like I've been digging back into like my reserves of like why am I actually doing this? Like what is the reasoning? And like unless you have a personal experience, I feel like, of that, that notion that everybody says, you just never know, like you just don't know. Like you just don't know when something could happen. Well, until you actually experience that, it's hard to really understand what people are talking about. And so like that experience to me has really helped me realize that, dude, I don't give a shit what people say about my new career, my new endeavor, because you know what? That guy, hopefully he had something in place, like a life insurance policy, that if something happened, like his family, his loved ones, everything would be taken care of. And so I just been kind of drawing on different personal experiences to say, hey, listen, or if somebody like an old person has a bunch of money and they want to be able to retire and do things that they want to do when they're retired, and helping people do that too. So I've been trying to really get in touch with why that I'm doing this, and not just like, oh yeah, I want to make $1, or I want to make a bunch of money. So just to kind of get back to I got a little bit off track, but that was just a crazy story.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. And that's, dude, it just seems like you're so close to finding out why you're doing this, and that's, you had that. I remember we talked probably almost 2 months ago, because I think it was the first 3 episodes about the why. And
dude, and then tying that into that feeling I had Friday night. So like, there's something brewing here, and I don't know what it is, but it's like somehow tying that crazy good feeling I had in with like what we talked about happened with that Friday night, and given the giving aspect of that, and then tying that into my my new career or whatever. And I don't know, I think I'm kind of I think I'm slowly talking it out, man. I think I really am starting to find, and like what you talked about, you had posted something on Instagram about somebody reaching out to you and saying, dude, like, appreciate you, whatever that kid Chris, I think he said, and like how you said that's your $1 million payout. Like, I think I'm kind of finding my payout in some of that intangible stuff that you can't really, you're not exchanging money. It's not like that little girl gave me $3,000. Like if I would have gave her the ball and she gave me $3,000, I still don't think I would have had the same feeling. And she didn't smile. She was just like, "Thank you for the baseball. Here's $3,000."
I probably would have felt like a little worse taking $3,000 from a kid.
No, you know what I mean though. Like if she was just like straight faced, she took the baseball and was like, "Here's $3,000." Like I would have probably had the same joyful feeling. So it's like, there's something to be said about that, dude. I don't know what it is, but you gotta figure that stuff out. And I think that's just me discovering what happiness is. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's $1 million, but I don't know.
Kid, something's a brewing, Tom. We don't know yet, but something's a brewing.
We're just gonna keep on chugging.
That's right.
Chugga.
We're just gonna keep rolling with you, because I want to go back to what you said about your boss. Now, my man, listen, okay? This guy seems like he's all in with Tommy P. So this is gonna be another reason why you're really enjoying this. Now, okay, as you said, he's like, dude, give me 30 days. Give me 30 days, and he basically, as you said, called you out and your bullshit. Like, dude, I was in the same position. That ain't no reason why you can't do this. And now he kind of sticks his neck out there and does something for you. Dude, the guy's just like showing you he cares about you, and also showing you that he thinks you're going to be a valuable asset to this team, and he sees something in you. So that's just got to be another thing that's, that you are really excited to see, because he's fighting for you. You know what I'm saying? He's in the front line fighting for you. He's doing something he didn't have to do
100%,
to get you to
dude.
be where you want to be, to please you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, like,
Yep.
he's and not 1 cent was given to you. It's not like he's like, all right, you want something? Here's like here, I'm going to give you $2,500.
Hey, wait, I'm going to interrupt you one more time. I'm going to bring in one more thing that he told me before I left for the weekend. He said, dude, I really wanted to cut you that check for Friday. Like, because it's like a $2,000 check. I was like, holy shit. And then I'll get another $2,000 at the end of the month. I was like, okay, great. I didn't mind what I'm doing, and I'm making money. Like, great, But he's like, dude, I wanted to give you that check on Friday, but it's just the way things are shaking out. Like, I have to give it, it has to be cut on Monday. And he goes, dude, just you let me know. Like, if you need, whatever, cash for the weekend, like, dude, I got your back. Like, he didn't say I got your back, but that's what I was interpreting. Like, he's like, dude, I can give you some money, and you can pay me back Monday. So, like, I don't know what this guy, like, he's really, like, seriously, I don't know what the hell it is, and I don't know, I guess I'm a good guy. I mean, I hope I'm a good guy, but, dude, he's putting it on the fucking line. I don't know how else, it's literally, like.
Well, listen, here's how it is, right? And we talk about my boss all the time, and I tell you all the stuff he does, and I'm going to use a word you've used for my boss a lot. I think the guy friggin' gets it. And the same thing with my boss, Mike. It seems like the same thing happened to him. He was in your position. He was in the trenches.
I like it.
As you said, he didn't have the suits. So he knows at the beginning. So he knows what it's like to go through what you're going through. And I think he's just trying to make your life as easy as possible because he knows what it's like to go through what you're going through. And he's trying to do everything he can to help you out because it just seems like he likes you.
That's powerful shit, dude.
He likes you as a person and he likes you as a worker. So, I mean, and you want to know something, too?
But doesn't that breed loyalty, too? Like, on the flip side, now I'm not saying he doesn't have ulterior motives. Okay, he's got numbers, he's got a hit, he's got to have good people on his team. So, but there's that distinction, right? Like, you genuinely feel like Mike Boyle, you know, has it kind of figured out, you know what I mean? And so, like, there's that genuine factor where, okay, I understand, like, Corey, like, obviously he's got numbers, he's got to hit. He's got to hit production numbers. He's got to do this. He's got to do that. But he has to have people 100% bought into what he's doing, or else it's just going to be a huge turnover, and it's just going to be, okay, hiring people, letting people go, people leaving, this and that. So, like, why wouldn't you create that sense of loyalty? Why wouldn't you put everything on the line for somebody that you believe in? Like, if I was in his position, I would do the same exact thing, and it would be genuine because I don't want to have to retrain people. I don't want to have people come in and go out. People come in, go out, go in, go out. Like, I don't want to do that. And if he breeds that sense of loyalty, the right people are going to stick around. And I think that's probably his motive. And as much as it is like financially, hey man, I'll throw you $100, $200 for the weekend, but it's just the point of it. You know, it's the action of saying, I'll help you out in this tough situation. And to me, he's got my loyalty. And until something else happens, he has 100% of my loyalty.
That's worth more than money, my man. That is worth more than money. Like, honestly, if Mike came up to me today and said, hey, listen, I need you to work tomorrow, or I need you to work July 4th in the morning for no money. You want to know what I would say to him? I got you, dude.
Yeah.
I got you. You know what I'm saying? Because everything he's done for me, like, dude, and I'll run through a brick wall. Put a brick wall in front of me. I'm going to try as hard as I can to knock that mother effer down.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because he 100%, like, has my loyalty. Like, I would never do anything. Like, even if someone legitimately came up to me and said, Eric, I'll pay you $1 million to do this, and it was backstabbing Mike, no way. Take your $1 million. I'm all good.
I like it. Yep.
Because this guy has showed me too much loyalty, has done too much for me to ever even think for a half a second, a millisecond, about ever negatively affecting his life.
Dude, and that makes you feel good that you have that type of working relationship. Because now, listen, if you're on the other side of things and you don't feel that loyalty, which I have experienced, you 100%. I don't want to say you hate your situation, but I can just only speak from personal experience.
No.
It is.
No, wait a minute. Now you do. Let's be real. You freaking hate what you are. And,
yeah. Okay. I'm running around the bush.
Loyalty of a boss.
Yeah.
If you don't have the loyalty of a boss, you're looking to get out of there ASAP. And the only reason why you're probably hanging around is because either you're making decent money, and at some point you're gonna leave because you're gonna get sick of it.
Yeah.
You're either making decent money, or you have nowhere to go, and you're looking. And then when you do find something, you leave.
Right.
So, and like, you want to know something, man? Like, yeah, as I talked about in the last episode, I need to make money. But there are so many other trainers out there right now doing what I do that make 3 or 4 times as much as I do. But I don't care because I'm making money to stay afloat right now. I'm in the position, I'm in a great position for the future. So many people just think about now, and, you know, the loyalty I am getting from people, not only just Mike, it's just like, dude, it's just like, this just goes back to the last episode. Money isn't everything. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Like, that's what we're talking about right now. Loyalty is probably one of the biggest things. If someone shows they're loyal to you, they take care of you, they do what they can, and they go above and beyond what they should. It's like, dude, it's like, all right, it's like, what do you need me to do? You need me to run like 50,000 miles for you? What do you need me to do? I'll break that brick wall down. It's like, what do I need to do for you? Because you got my loyalty, I want to be here. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. That's how it is. Like, money only goes so far. You know, hey, if I was, you want something, I would rather be getting paid the money I'm getting paid right now than be getting paid legitimately $100,000 a friggin' week. And going to work and not have loyal people.
Yeah.
And be in a horrible atmosphere. There's so many people out there that are just in that atmosphere, but they're making so much money and they haven't realized it yet. And they're only there for the money, and eventually they leave because they're thinking money. But no, like, you get in an atmosphere, and a good atmosphere, and you have loyal people, and you love what you're doing, and you just, you have that whole trickle-down effect of everything being so positive, and the money isn't there right now, well, it's eventually going to be. I'll tell you that right now. It eventually will. You're just going to be patient. So I think that, that's huge.
Yeah, yeah, and I read this, somebody posted on Facebook. It was an article talking about a guy that did this study from like they basically had two groups of people. One group of people that were from a lower income, and it was actually out of Boston, and then another group of people that had graduated from Harvard College, and they followed them. Obviously people pass away, died, this and that, but they followed them throughout their entire lives, and some of them are I think in their 80s now, and they were talking about how different indicators of happiness and this and that, and they said relationships and that sense of loyalty and people having your backs created more happiness and healthier people to have them continue their happiness into their 70s and 80s as compared to people that didn't have a strong community or didn't have a strong, not a bunch of relationships, but just a strong, you know what I'm saying, strong community and really close with your family, close with your friends. All that really actually had a huge impact, because then you have this weight off your shoulders. If something really bad happens, I have support. And the one thing I've noticed throughout this course of the last, say, 3 to 6 months, that if shit hits the fan, I have this sense of relief that I have support, that not only friends, not only family, but just not so much community within where I'm at, but just that sense of relief, I guess. And I can definitely relate to that study that, hey, if you don't have that, then you get kind of stressed out. You get, almost tense a little bit, and you're like, fuck, what am I going to do? I'm in a tough spot. Who can I rely on? And it's, sometimes non-existent. So.
Yep. Hey, 100% agree with that. 100%. And I feel like we could talk forever, but
yeah, hey, we
have time, and it's about that time.
All right, man.
So
get into it.
All right. Well, you want me to start off here?
I can start if you want.
Grinder of the week?
Go for it.
So, grinder of the week. Not a physical, but a mental grind. I'm talking about a kid who's just graduated high school, and I'll talk about. I know last week he's a really good friend of my brother's. He's actually down the Cape with us. Very good family friend, one of my brother's best friends, and he went to 3 or 4 graduation parties in a row, and ton of drinking, girls drinking, guys drinking. I'm sure everyone's been around it, and if you're the oddball out, and it's why aren't you drinking? Were you a baby?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Cool. This kid don't care. He walked around all 4 graduation parties with a bottle of water, and he even had an adult make a comment, say, Whitey, I'll give you $200. His name's Brendan White. I'll give you $200 if you drink a beer. And legitimately, the guy was being serious, and he's like, I'm all set. So now talking about now this is a kid we're talking about. He's got his values. Some guy offers him $200. Some kid may just went, yeah, sure, I'll have a beer. Why not? $200. But then, you kind of go against what you've been standing for a long time. So he's like, no, I'm all set. I'm good. Don't worry about it. Thanks, though. And I look at the kid, and that's, that didn't happen. But when my brother had his graduation, everyone was drinking and stuff. And, he came up with a bottle of water. And, my dad made a comment. And I actually looked at my dad kind of proud. And I'm like, dude, I think that's great you said it to him. My dad goes, they were talking about drinking, and one of the fathers said, "So Whitey, you don't drink, huh?" He goes, "Nah, I'm all good." And my dad looks at him and he goes, "Whitey, don't you change for anybody. You're you, and you stay you. That's what makes you you." And I looked at him and I go, "Dude, good for you, man." I go, "You keep it up." I go, what you're doing is a great thing. And I'm saying to myself, it's hard. Think about being a high school kid.
It is hard.
Yeah. And not doing what everyone else is doing. Kids probably stay stuff to him. But you want to know something? He's staying true to him. And it ain't no surprise to me that he's going to play junior hockey in the best league next year in the USHL. And he's probably going to sign Division I contract for hockey.
Yeah.
So, he's putting in that time. He's putting in that work. He skates, I think, 2-3 times a week. He works out. But he don't drink. A lot of kids his age, they drink. This summer, they're going to drink. They're going to go to parties. They're going to drink. They're going to drink beer. They're going to drink alcohol. They're going to wake up the next day feeling like crap. No, not him. He can go out, and he can have just as good a time. The kid was smiling, laughing the whole time. Didn't have one sip of alcohol. So, my grinder of the week, mental grind.
I like it.
Whitey. Yeah, Brendan White. So, good for him. He's a great kid. Great kid. So, look for him in the future in hockey, too.
I want to kind of get into my grinder of the week, which, I kind of, I had a lot of, we've kind of had an up and down kind of friendship, relationship. I wouldn't say up and down, but I'm going to shout out to our college, I was going to say roommate, but college classmate. And I think you're going to obviously know who this is, but he gave us a shout this week and said he was listening to our podcast, Mr. Brandon DeFazio, which shout out to Brandon. I think anybody that, obviously knows us or has been in the...
Wazi.
Yeah, and I know, obviously... him and I were college, obviously roommates freshman year, and we actually didn't see eye to eye on a lot of different things. I was dating, I think you remember back in the day, I was dating Morgan, and obviously kind of a relationship that was great for that time, but not really that great. It just kind of took me away from, I felt like time with the team and friendships, and I think as I look through my years in college and then obviously post college, DeFaz is always was a guy for me that, most recently I can tell a story. We were in, I told you about the time we went to Talladega, and dude, at that point, man, I was in a real rough spot. Like I literally had just gotten fired, from my job, and, at that context in my life, like that was a big deal because, you're making X amount of money, you're not making that money anymore, and at that point, I was comfortable in terms of making everything work and this and that, and then DeFaz happened to come into town. It was like April, like the first week of April, and I went to both of his games, and which first of all was great because I, take that a year prior and I would have been on the road traveling for racing and this and that. So I was able to, be in town. I was able to go to his games, went out to dinner, and then on that Sunday, I can't remember how it came up, but one of us said something about going to Talladega or Daytona, one of these races, and he ended up knowing a guy, and dude, he put together this weekend where like we had all access, like we had a truly like unique experience at Talladega, and for me it was really neat. But there were some times within that weekend, like I actually worked the ARCA race. Like I went away from the group that I was with, which obviously was DeFaz and those guys, and I worked the race, and it was like, to me, after the fact, yeah, I made $200, great, but it was kind of almost like this underlying feeling of, hey, I still want to race, but, I want to, kind of be away from it. And that Sunday night, because we stayed over Sunday night, all the boys were, getting after it, drinking. I kind of wasn't drinking as much, and I think DeFaz noticed that, and he kind of noticed that, like, his awareness was like, dude, like, I can tell you're worried about shit. Like, loosen up, try to have some fun. And so, like, I just want to shout out and say, dude, like, thank you. You know what I mean? I sent him a message. I was like, dude, like, I was in a real rough spot. And, like, that, just the awareness for somebody to say, listen, like, dude, it's all good. Like, don't worry about whatever you're worrying about. Like, try to get in the moment of enjoying yourself. And so that's kind of my, I know I was going to you maybe thought I was going to go in a different direction. Like, Faz, great hockey player, obviously still playing professional. He's getting a chance to go over to China. Like, play in the KHL, like still has a great career going for himself. But that to me is a component of, you know, DeFoz's, you know, personality of like just the awareness of helping somebody and noticing that maybe somebody's not, you know, fully present or enjoying themselves, and just saying, dude, you know, snap out of it, like have a good night, don't, you know, whatever you're worrying about, forget about it. So you know, that's really motivated me to be that person for other people too. Like, hey, you notice somebody might not be having a great day, like maybe try to ask them, hey, what's going on, like can I help you with anything? So you know, that meant a lot to me. So my shout out and grinder of the week is obviously you want to wish him good luck over in China, but just want to tell that quick story because that, you know, was pretty important at a kind of a pivotal low point in my 30 years of existence. So
yeah, hey, he's always been like that. You know, he's always been the guy. If you need someone to, you know, pick you up, he's always been that kind of guy. So I can definitely, and yeah. Definitely, you know, give him a shout out. I know he's gonna absolutely kill it in China. I'll probably predict he's probably be the leading scorer. You know, get into a few fights here, put a few backdoor. You know what I'm saying?
Heck yeah.
Get a few Gordie Howe hat tricks. You know, so definitely, and yeah, you know, the journey for greatness. We want to wish DeFoz, you know, the best journey in China and the KHL he could possibly have. So
yeah, it's all part of that.
We're definitely rooting for you.
All part of that journey.
And hey, we should maybe possibly try and get out there for a few days, you know? I'm just saying. Just sneaking that in the podcast publicly, Tom.
That would be amazing.
You know?
But, hey, I don't know if we did this last week, but, dude, we got to take a minute and thank everybody. I don't think we've thanked everybody. Yeah. So I'm going to say my quick 2 cents. I know this is really a lot longer than we've normally gone, but I felt like we literally needed a fire extinguisher. I think we were just spitting fire the entire time, and you know, I actually I ran out of my fire extinguisher, and I just figured we'll just let the fire burn for a little longer. So we appreciate you guys listening. We hope it wasn't too hot for you, but I enjoyed doing this episode. It was an amazing reflection for me, and can't thank each and every one of you for taking, like I always say, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, your drive to work. You know, nothing wrong with putting it on while you're, you know, cruising to work rather than listen to Beyonce or Drake or something. Maybe put the Journey for Greatness on and listen to a couple kind of average guys just document their progress towards greatness. So we thank you guys, and with that, we hope you have a great week, and I'll let Diddy finish it off.
Yeah, just kind of reiterating that, you know, we do this because we feel so passionate for helping people. You know, we as we say all the time, you know, if one person, you know, hears this for 5 minutes and we make a change in any way, then, you know, we are that's a success, you know. So as Tommy said, thank you guys for those of you that watched, you know, for however, or not watch, what am I talking about? Hey, we'll be on TV someday. We'll be on TV someday. Yep. Not watch, I'm sorry, listen, okay? Thank you guys, really appreciate it, and, you know, without you, you know, we couldn't do this. So
that's a great point.
That being said, you know, I think that's it. Tom, anything else?
No, let's wrap her up, man. We went overboard this week, but that's totally cool.
It happens, you know. Hey, you know,
enjoy yourself.
Consistent, we got it done, right?
Yeah, so enjoy yourself in the Cape, and we'll be in touch, brother.
All right, sounds good. You take care.
Yep, bye.
All right, bye-bye.